happens when you overcontribute to your TFSA and make some bad investments? A perpetual tax trap of potentially never-ending penalties and interest. Hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a CPA licensed in both Canada and the US, tax consultant and co-author of my new book, Your Move to Canada, all about financial investment and tax planning as it relates to being in Canada and moving to Canada from the US. So this is a really interesting case if you like tax news. So this individual contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars over their contribution room to their TFSA. The CRA kept warning him, hey, you're over-contributing, take the funds out, but they weren't really listening. And they kept over-contributing over and over again. And worse yet, this individual was buying penny stocks in their TFSA. So they ended up being in a position where they over-contributed by hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the big issue is they could not fix this to avoid penalties. And here's why. When you over-contribute to your TFSA, you need to take the funds out to stop the penalties from continuing to accrue. But what happens when you invest in a stock that plummets in value within the TFSA? You simply cannot take out as much as you need to. So for example, let's say I over-contributed $100,000 to my TFSA, but I bought some stocks that plummeted down to $1,000. I still need to take out that $100,000 from my TFSA, but there's only $1,000 in there. So what happens? You are subject to a 1% per month penalty that the overcontribution stays in the TFSA. And in order to actually stop that clock from ticking, if you cannot take anything out of the TFSA because your contribution went down in value, you just have to wait for a new contribution room to build up. And I believe for this case, it ended up being 16 years that they have to wait. And in those 16 years, they're going to continue to be subject to penalties, probably of, tens of thousands per year. So that makes a tax-free savings account not very tax-free. So moral of the story here is, first of all, don't over-contribute to the TFSA. And two, the TFSA is really not the account for speculative investments. If it decreases in value substantially, you, first of all, can't use those losses to offset any other capital losses in your non-registered investment account. And you basically permanently reduced the value of your TFSA going forward. If you want to learn more about tax planning with the TFSA, my book, Your Move to Canada, has a whole entire chapter on the TFSA, including what you need to consider with the TFSA if you are American. Let me know in the comments what you think about this case. It's pretty interesting. Bye!